I think what we've done here culturally is we've made sexuality and intimacy be two terms that we think are interchangeable.
And they're not.
Exactly. So what's the difference between a sexual relationship and an intimate relationship? Are they one and the same, or are we talking about two completely different things?
We're talking about two completely different things. When we look at intimacy, we're looking at someone that we can really connect to, we can confide in, who understands us, who has our back without us needing to give them so much detail. When we look at sexual relationship, to me that means more of a physical relationship, which hopefully will have some degree of intimacy if you're in a committed relationship, but you can have a sexual relationship without having any degree of intimacy.
And you can have an
One-night stand.
You can have an intimate relationship without it being sexual as well.
That's true too.
I think the biggest challenge, though, is that what happens with intimacy is people never reach a level of true intimacy, and they step into a sexual relationship, and then they think that that sexual intimacy is them reaching a point where they're really truly intimate with each other, and they're not.
Well, I think because our society sort of leads us in that direction for us to think that to have a real, true relationship, it must be a sexual, physical relationship. And then when you look at intimacy, go talk to your girlfriend.
How many times have you heard, we're just friends? Just friends? Like, why is there a just in front of friends? Friends is such an amazing relationship, such a deep, really personal, intimate relationship. I think you should just say, we're just sleeping together, not we're just friends.
This issue, though, with misunderstanding or having this false intimacy around sex is a huge issue. You know, you work with couples all the time.
Every day.
They come in and there's massive sexual challenges. And it's because at one point in time they stepped in early into a sexual relationship. They think that's their level of intimacy. They've never gotten to true intimacy or anywhere close to it. And they've got this sexual connection, oxytocin high, right? They have this that they're transferring to their relationship, thinking that is now an intimate relationship in their life. It's not. And they haven't truly got to a place where they're able to be vulnerable and where they can really trust each other to have the important conversations. And so when the sex falls apart, they find out, whoa, wait a second, we can't even talk to each other now.
I think what we've done here culturally is we've made sexuality and intimacy be two terms that we think are interchangeable.
And they're not.
And they are very different. You look at them in the dictionary, we've got connotative and we've got denotative, and baby, they're not the same thing. And when we look at the intimacy, to me, is someone understands your heart. They understand you at a level that you're kind of like, you can relax into it. You are vulnerable with them, they know you, and then the sexuality is another form of communicating that we often layer over, but sexuality is something you do with your body. Intimacy is something you do with your head and your heart.
You're right. I think intimacy is really knowing the interior landscape of your partner, and sometimes people use sex to actually avoid that knowing, that
no
deep
question.
knowing. Like the process I teach couples where they're sitting 18 inches apart, a lot of times I'll have them just gaze into each other's eyes for that limbic resonance that happens between them without words before we even get into the words, because this is what we're talking about. It's not enough to know how to have sex with each other.
That eye gazing is a level of vulnerability very few people ever go to.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to sexual relationships and intimate relationships, clearly the panel all agrees that they're very different things. And if somebody is looking for intimacy in a sexual relationship, that has to build over time. It's not an instant add water, have sex, you have intimacy. You really have to work on that and grow it. And then intimacy can develop over time.